And greetings everybody, welcome back to Rebuilding the Commonwealth with myself. As you can see, we're looking over a beautiful vista, looking over the nice calm ocean, Spectacle Island on the left and the shipwrecks on the right, because we are at the Warwick Homestead, in case you haven't noticed. If you do like the series, make sure you like, comment and subscribe, it really helps me out and you, and hit that notification bell. Now, I asked you guys what this building was being built for, its purpose. I have done some work to it off camera. I do think the place looks quite striking now. I will walk you through those changes in just a moment. But the reason we built this building and what it's used for, give yourself a pat on the back if you said it's a missile storage. Yes. This building is going to be housing cruise missiles. As you can see, we have some red lights on these that I've managed to very carefully conceal. But the incursions by the gunners are big. The incursions by the gunners are devastating. The incursions are leaving lots of Minutemen dead. Lots of Minutemen that we cannot afford to lose any longer. So the addition of this new ship that we will be building for the Minutemen will include the addition of cruise missiles, because what's bigger than artillery? Cruise missiles, to be able to deliver decisive strikes across the entire wasteland. These are going to be high range, highly explosive missiles which will completely flatten areas of gunner resistance. They need to fear us now. Oh, they need to fear us now. The Minutemen are getting very powerful, and this is the latest addition to the arsenal. So if you guys predicted this was going to be a munitions and cruise missile storage, give yourself a pat on the back and make yourself known. Now, this building has undergone some changes in the absence. That's the reason why this video has taken a while to get out. I've been seeing to a couple of real-life affairs. My partner has, in fact, just been through a moment of medical need, and I have been naturally at her side. So, of course, that hasn't left me any time to record. I'm pleased to say everything is fine. Everything is as it should be. So nothing to worry about. Now, I have replaced the ceiling here on the ground floor with these parking garage. They come through the parking garage set in snappy builds. Oh, so we've got a store here. The Curo tab does cause a lot of lag, but I do love it. So yeah, we have the parking garage. And under the floors and ceilings here, some of the bigger ones have lights built in, and the lights are switched on by default. And I figured that was a really good way to create some ambient lighting without needing to litter the place with them. So I've replaced all of the ground floor with it, and we have ambient lighting all over. I've then worked on the gangways here with these industrial wall lights to create a little bit of light here. And I've even hooked up a couple of these construction lights to these fuse box generators. It is connected directly by a wire, which is fine, but because the wire is quite short, we can get away with it. These shelves were more difficult than I care to admit when putting up. That actually needs to go away now, because these shelves aren't going to be illuminated at night. I've installed a Minuteman flag and insignia. At night, these look really, really striking. This is almost like a crowning building for the Minutemen down this way. But we are going to populate this place and then probably going to staff it. So this episode is going to be quite a long one. So make sure you buckle up, because we've got some work to be doing. Excellent. Now, under, I believe it's Homemaker, we have some interior decorations. Now, I think some of these are just going to be boxes. And of course, we are going to need a lot of these. Boxes. That's going to be warehouse supplies, because of course it is. I think somewhere along here we have these munition boxes. Now these require nuclear materials, so they're quite expensive. Which I'm not too keen on the use of nuclear material for decorations, but it has to be done. Yes, only the top part of the crate. Now we're going to have a couple of these out to this side, which are going to be opened. Maybe where they're being inspected. I'm going to place the lid off to one side for that. And we're going to have these munition crates stocking up from the bottom. Now that shelf is a little bit too narrow, as are these ones. However, what I can do, because this is modular, I could just simply lower that to create a space for it. So we're going to put a couple of munition boxes here in the middle. Now only small boxes will be able to go underneath. So we're going to put in some more of this naval storage. I think the slightly larger ones can fit under here. And there's a reason I'm using these Vault-Tec style ones, and that is because a lot of this cargo is going to be needed to be lifted with a forklift. I mean, this is heavy stuff. This is all explosive material. There we are. I think a couple more munition boxes on the next level up. I want to create not a bit of chaos, but I do want to continue with that theme of making this settlement a bit more cramped and a bit more industrial feeling. So we're going to really accentuate this dock area this episode. So we're going to put some more of these tall ones. I want to add a bit of colour to them, so we're going to mix up the colours to them here. That's it. Put a smaller metal one there. There we go. Now one of the things I do want to do is put some rubber mats in front of this. I think we have a bit too much in the way of concrete flooring, and it looks a little bit too bare. But I think that's going to be under floor coverings if I just look in the right fucking area. We will snap to the floor with this. Now these floor coverings will just break up that monotony of the concrete for just a little bit. Not a problem. And I'm going to use this actually, oh, got stuck there, to form essentially a gangway between the lift and these bits over here. So it's almost like you'll have a designated way to walk around the elevator. This elevator is going to be designed for cargo. I have a feeling this is really, really off-centre. Of course it's off-centre. Why the hell wouldn't it be? Do I look that coordinated to you? Because if I do, I really shouldn't. These ones I can get away with being slightly off-kilter, because these are almost like made to measure for that particular spot. These ones are not. So you have to excuse me with these ones. There we go. Just going to shift this over a bit so we can fit another mat in the centre. That's it. Now these partitioned off areas are where I'm going to store some of these missiles. This is where I find out that they're way too big to store in here. I'm just like calling it now. Yeah, we're not using big missiles. These big missiles are absolutely incredible size. I don't think I'll ever be able to find a place big enough to store these big missiles. So we're going to use small missiles instead. Now, we do have a lower small bracket. I'm going to stick with the orange theme, where everything here is industrial. I think these will snap to it, but I couldn't tell you. Yeah, there you go. Let's just see whether the small missile snaps to it. We are using the red-tipped missiles for here. So it actually snaps to multiple places. That's actually kind of cool, you know. However, I would ideally like the missile to be facing the other way, but this is fun too. Let's just move this up. That's it. Now, can we stack these is a good question. There's so many of these in here, it's incredible. Can we tuck a bracket underneath this? Yes, we can. And that is the wrong colour. That's the one I'm looking for. That's it. And then we put in these ones. And now we can actually stack these and create another set, I believe. I could have swore it literally just snapped. Oh well. I am very much used to having to brute force these, so I'm not too worried. Oh, no, don't do that. Well, that had some distance to it. I don't actually think that they're supposed to do that somehow. We do have a missile in here, that is the main thing. I think they're supposed to go side by side, really. If I rotate this, yeah, that does cover the entire side here. So they would have to be they would have to be put down as they are, which is fair enough, I suppose. However, just had an idea. I take the furniture from the Curo tab. I think we can get some small platforms. A little bit like the warehouse shelves. That is a gangplank. That's not going to be good enough. If I put in this gangplank, what does that look like? I mean, that's just like a lattice pattern. That is not going to be strong enough to carry a full-blown missile. So some of the stuff I see in here is just really, really cool, and I'm like, oh, I want to use it, but I just do not have the ability to do that at the moment. Solid garage door. that was just that little bit smaller. A truck ramp. Oh, if I could hide... You know, I think I can actually make this work. But I hide the ramp section of that. If I put down 2 of these, and then line them up correctly. Then just tuck that back just a little bit, like so. I reckon I could just about get away with this. And in fact, I think I could put in these like posts. Because underneath here is nothing, right? Anything underneath this building is just hollow. So it's not actually going to matter. Because if you're going to store a full-blown cruise missile on top of this, you're going to have to... You're going to have some... Whoa! What the hell? I think that is a side effect, I think. A side effect of this ceiling. It's fine, no. Oh, bit much. Also, I've learned from my mistakes, and I have actually brought myself a drink. I've actually brought myself a drink so my throat doesn't get completely and utterly mangled. Oh. Excellent. There we go. So that can actually have a layer on it. So decoration, missile. I know there's a key for this. Okay, F7 is nothing. F8 is nothing. F9 will be to turn off my recording, which I don't want to do. I'm sure there's a key that can turn off the workshop snapping, but otherwise I'm just going to have to, for goodness sake, just going to have to do it manually. Which is, say, if I ever got popular to the point that I have to make merchandise, I'll just have to do it myself or do it manually. Is going to be one of the slogans I print on that t-shirt. You know that. You know I'm going to have to do that. There we go. So we have another bracket, and we will store another missile in here. This one, again, will be a red missile. I don't actually know the difference between these. I mean, this stuff is all highly classified. You are not going to be getting into this place without proper clearance from the Navy. You need to be trusted to get into this place. That's it. Just going to tuck that forward so it looks better. There we go, so that's 2 missiles now in storage. And I think that does look quite natural. I mean, granted, I think I could actually make these I-beams go all the way to the ceiling. I mean, I did kind of do that on the other side of the building, so why not? Is it? Brilliant. Now let's put another couple missiles on the other side, shall we? So the Minutemen here have got a massive step up in firepower against the gunners from all this. I think that's only a rough estimate, but put in some more missiles. Oh yeah, of course, it's going to face the other way. I wonder, if I just turn this the other way, the missile fits in the other way. I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it. Fair enough. Yeah, just want to make sure that lays down as it should. Move that up by 30, snap that in there, snap that in there. I have that clamped just under the nose cone, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Then we'll clamp it over with another missile clamp. There's so many parts to these, I swear to God. That's it. Now under Kuro tab, post beams and supports. Yeah, there we go, platforms. We're going to place another truck ramp in here. I think this one can actually be tucked ever so slightly into the wall. Like so. I mean, this doesn't really overhang anyway, so that is fine. So I can place another truck ramp. Tuck that together. The bit in the middle will not be seen, which is what we want. And that needs to be tucked back so that the clamp is hidden. Clamp hides the bit there. And that's about right in terms of the height, so that is fine with me. Get some I-beams. 1 and 2. And 2. So that's 2 I-beams there. Just tuck that one a little bit closer. Back to hodgepodge. Missiles. Oh yeah, of course. I've gone way too far for that. So because I'm 20 minutes in, I've only put in 4 missiles. I told you this is going to be a long one. So make sure you buckle up. So I need to bring that just about in line with the other missile. Need to make sure that is sitting straight in its area. A little bit wonky, tad wonky. Tad wonky. That's about right. Brilliant. Now we just attach the pieces to them here. So we need a lower small bracket just under the nose cone. then a middle bracket there, and another lower bracket here. Needs to come down by 10 units to bring it back to the top of that platform. Like that. There we go, we've got 4 cruise missiles now stocked up in here. Just need the top upper bracket now to enclose them. So I think that missile was very slightly misaligned. That's fair enough. Now furniture. Oh, that's power armor displays. What am I doing? Decorations. Now these lane numbers might be a good use here. So this will be storage compartment number 1, be storage compartment number 2. Now canonically I'm thinking where these grates are, if you wanted to pull them open you could just simply unlatch them and pull them out, with the exception of these of course. So my kind of thinking here is that they're absolutely fine as they are. So if you were going to get a vehicle in here to, you know, move the missile, you could quite easily do that. I'm going to put a console at the back here, so this is kind of your monitoring station for them. This is what you would use if you wanted to disengage the locks, for example, to move them. Now flags. I do like this slightly worn flag. Now I'm going to shrink this one, but we still need to be patriotic, guys. The Minutemen are the reason this place exists. That's it. So I've got Minuteman in there. Now I'm also thinking this is some very volatile cargo that we are carrying in here. So it would be only natural for us to try and put up, for example, hang on a minute. Oh, there we go. Had me worried for a second there. For us to try and put up some sandbags to protect them from gunfire. Not that we anticipate anyone getting in here, but I don't think it would be out of the question for us to try and afford this a little bit of extra defence. Plus, it will help us to maintain the cramped feeling of the settlement. I don't really want to use the big walls here because they've got wood attached to them. But since these internal grates are what I call immovable, so if you wanted to get a vehicle in there, these ones would not move. So I'm just going to very slightly rotate these just so they don't look completely uniform. There we are. I'm going to lower this one a tad, lower just a tad, bring that one up, just so they don't look completely the same. That's it. So it looks like we have hastily put together some sandbags. I think we do have some smaller walls as well. Yes, we do. We do have some smaller ones. But let's add in this. The construction light we can move for a moment. You're about to see this place at night, and I'm actually really excited to show you what this place looks like at night, because I think it looks pretty nice. There we go. So we've put in some sandbags to clear up. To try and cushion off this area. And I think we'll probably do the same with the place next over. Of course, it is raining. There we go. So that has been what I would call militarized. Floor coverings. People would not come in here too often, but I'm happy to put a little bit of floor damage in here. As you can see, my material supply is getting really bad. I'm in need of a proper like shopping run, as it were. I should really keep visiting the general store that I've opened here in the settlement, just to keep stocking up as we go, because it restocks every couple of days, but what can I say, I'm a bit lazy. Now, decorations. We need some more warehouse supplies. And I think storing some more of these munitions crates is not a bad shout. I mean, those are like mini nukes, and then these are like big nukes. Except they're not nukes, they're like cruise missiles. So I'd like to say that's similar, but they're not similar at all. Like in terms of warfare, there's nothing similar about them in terms of damage and destruction. Like nukes will destroy entire cities. Cruise missiles, they'll do you some serious damage, but they're not gonna level your country or anything like that. Or not unless you fire a barrage of them anyway. Cool, so that's one little storage bay. I'm probably going to come back and do some more adjustments to this. So this is the place at night. And I think all these extra lighting in here, lighting pieces, look great. So I've got these makeshift work lights up, because I think it's not often you'll have anyone working in here at night, at least not on the storage bay. But I think having these work lights just creates the effect that there are people working here. Alright, so let's create a bit more clutter down here, which is kind of the whole point. So barrels, nobody particularly knows what's in these barrels. Well, at least I don't. You can use your imagination for that one. Hey, all the lights are coming on now properly. Keeps turning itself off and on, that's great. Yeah, so gonna stock up some of these. Gonna have maybe a couple of them jutting out into the gangway a little bit, just so that it's not too tidy. Stock up that dolly in the corner. This other side I was thinking of putting in another missile bay, perhaps a bigger missile bay. I haven't actually checked these new places here. High bottom for shelves. The door. That is not a door, my friend. Ah. I mean, I know it is night time and this place is decently lit up now, but I'm still going to use my torch here. Just helps me see what the hell I'm doing. Just seeing if there's anything here useful for in terms of warehouse storage, but it does not look like that's the case. Yeah, you can use a car lift. I could technically use one of those, but that would take me a lot of messing around. Right. So, structural. I was under this part here, which is just walls. Got the cages here with the slits. I'm going to make this quite a large bay here. And this could be opened outwards a bit further, which is all well and good. Oh yeah, now that missile bay over here is done, or at least filled in as much as I'd like to at this point in time, I think adding some of these red lights is a good idea. I do have some red lights here. Or maybe green lights. Because the bay is clear of hazards and problems. You know, we're not at wartime. We don't need to load them. Having some green lights in here is not a bad idea. Yeah, I quite like that. I think there's not too many, not too little. It's brightly lit from the console, all the lights we set up. That's fine. I like that. Now, as for the other side here. This looks like it can be a storage for another set of missiles, which is what we're going to put in. Big missile head, small missile. So we've got red ones, yellow, green, blue. I'd like to think the red ones are high explosives. Let's say the blue ones are low yields. Low yield cruise missiles. Can I fit them in here two at a time? No, I reckon I... Oh, whoops. I reckon I could, but that's going to take some messing around, a bit of finagling. So I could just put the wall here, just that little bit further away, like that. Yeah, that's fine. That is good. So we've got low yield missiles in here now. Go again with the standard small brackets in red. Oh yeah, of course. Need to bring it up in order to clamp the brackets on. That bracket comes just under the nose cone, and the middle brace just here. So I feel like that needs to be one more. No, that's fine. Where it is. Just under the nose cone and just under the tail. I don't feel like that is against the floor. Yeah, so it needs to go down by 60 units, not 50. That's it. 60 units and 60 units to bring this missile down to the floor. Then we put an upper bracket over the top to clamp them in place. These are hard to get into place, but I'll manage it. Yeah, I think they're just far enough away that we can get away with that. Now, Kuro tab, structural platforms. Need to go and find that truck bed again. Truck flatbed, where are you? That's it, truck ramp. Just actually seeing if there was anything else in here, but I don't think there is. Now those gangplanks are just like a metal lattice. They're not really going to help us out. Those high-tech panels are way too small to be used for that. So yeah, I think the truck ramp is the best part that I can use for these. So, truck ramp. We've even got it in red. And we'll cover the end here with I-beams, which is ideal. Is that sitting right? Probably not, but we can fix it, whatever it is. So I also just noticed that that is completely bent off at a weird angle. There we are. That's a little bit better. I mean, I haven't really got as many opportunities to hide the sort of gap in the middle. Most of it will be hidden anyway, so I'm not too worried, because when we put the missiles on top, the flatbeds will become pretty much invisible. We won't need to use the clamps for it. That's it. Let's put in, before I completely forget about it, where's posts? Beams and supports. Can we get the I-beam, please? I-beam. That's it. That's going to be in the wall. That is going to be a very tight squeeze, to the point that I don't think that is safe. Because if you're unloading these missiles, you don't want to take down the I-beams. So let's not mess with that the way I'm looking at messing with that. Feeling that's just going to be a huge disaster if I decide to go through with that. Let's go back to missiles. Get our nice blue-tipped missile. That's red. That's blue. It's a blue-tip missile. Yeah, just have to bring that back across just a little bit until I feel like it's in the right place. Wow, these missiles snap to one another. But it doesn't snap with the missile facing the correct way, otherwise I'd literally just snap it and then shift it with the step keys that I'm currently using. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm stuck. Of course I am. Oh, I'm completely fucking stuck. There we go. Stupid thing. I don't know why it does that. It must just be the clearance on the ceiling that does it. Can't really help it, unfortunately. No, sir. and then it throws off the decorations that I'm in for some reason. My fingers do get tired doing this sometimes, if you ever wonder. That's it. Now put in a small bracket, small bracket, small bracket, small bracket, mid bracket. Oh yeah, of course. And I think that only needs to go down, yeah, 15. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's better. That goes under the nose cone. Great. Plus these are now secure, so if any of the gunners want to try and steal these missiles, well, good luck to you, because they're locked up. You're going to need some heavy duty cutting gear to get through that. Yep, like I say, I actually packed a cup of tea this time. No sore throat for me. It's going to be a long recording session. You guys deserve a nice long session. That's such a strange choice to snap them back to back like that. I think we're only going to get a few of these in. I mean, I could probably go for another bank of 4. Wouldn't be impossible. I mean, given that this gate is out of the way now, or it could be canonically unfolded. That's it. No, that still doesn't quite work. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Okay, come on, Oliver. Stop letting perfect be the enemy of good. So move these missile units up. Once again, we'll put in under the nose cone, under the nose cone, under the rocket. So it's really trying not to do what I want it to do, isn't it? Am I really going to have to move you up like that? My God. That's ridiculous. Would the middle bracket go on easier? No, of course not. You know, fuck you. I'm just going to put you up 50 units and see whether you can argue with that. I mean, it's trying to argue with that. This rocket is just doing its best Rage Against the Machine impression. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. 10 units down, 10 units down, 10 units down. Missile in place. 10 units down, 10 units down. 50, 10. Rocket drops into place. Excellent. That's it, panels and pathways. Go and get ourselves a truck gangplank. I can make sure the truck ramp is just inside the wall there. No, I put that in pretty damn straight, you know. Oh, I'm a fucking idiot. I haven't even put in the top of the brackets yet. God, I'm dumb sometimes. So I haven't even put that one in straight. Really helps if I do that. There we are. And then one more truck. Oh, no, I think I'm going to have to put in another truck ramp to cover this. Yeah, going to need one more truck ramp, I think. I think this one will need an I-beam to support it. Ooh, I've really messed this one up. That's better. Then we move that along. Now if I put I-beams there, I don't think the clearance is going to be far enough, but then again, if that gate is unfolding outwards, then that's fine. It'll just be at the end of the rack, so I think I-beam will be fine here. Yes, put the nice big I-beams in. And they're very close to the nose of those missiles. There we go, put the I-beams in, like so. Boom. Just need to bring them down so they don't poke through the roof. Just going to shift that one over into the corner so they're in between these metal rafter pieces. Great. Right, back to hodgepodge. Oh no. Okay, 50, 50. Just saying, if any of the stuff I'm doing here helps you with one of your builds, then I'm really happy about it. That's it. That's a good man. There you go. Cheers. Thanks very much, mate. So we have 8 low yields and 4 high explosives in terms of missiles. The Minutemen are going to be unstoppable soon. So if anyone could actually make me a mod that allowed me to use these cruise missiles, I would be like a pig in shit, I tell you. I have to be quite careful with these because it's so easy to get them wonky when you place them. And I don't want wonky missiles. That's it. I think that's about right. Just making sure the markings on the rockets line up like that. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we clamp. Oh, that's the big brackets. Don't want to use the big ones. Want the small ones. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. you go. Then just clamp on the tops. Just like that. There we go. It's taken me an hour to build 2 rocket sections and a little bit of warehouse clutter. Yeah, so bays 1 and 2. Over here will be 3 and 4. So yeah, lane bay number 3 will be over here, and bay number 4 here. I mean, to be honest, if we're going properly, then this one over here should be 5, and this bay here should be 6. So that's a bit more like it. Console style chrome. That's what I need. So we need another console for the status and locking of the missiles. You do need a code if you want to get them out of here. And of course we're going to put in the flag right over the top. I do love these Minuteman flags, but in fact you can get like fresh, brand new, kind of worn and totally worn. I like those. I like those setups. Good. Put it up to 5. No, up to 5. There we go. Wait until it starts disappearing into the wall, like so. Pull it back up into place, like that. Brilliant. Now I can put in some floor coverings. Our rubber supply is running low, but that doesn't mean I cannot do this. Okay, so we're going to have to do that manually. So we'll put one of those in. Again, we'll put in one of the messed up ones. The flooring in here is of course a little bit uneven. That would make sense. Now power. Lights. Need to put in some really nice green lights in here to show that we are, at the moment, at peacetime. We'll put green light back here. And a green light over there. Excellent. There's not enough space in here for any munitions crates, which makes sense. But yeah, this area can be sort of folded back. Now, next I want hodgepodge vehicles. Once it loads, this game is very laggy at the moment. I have put down a lot of stuff, so I will admit that. Forklifts. Does this fit here? Yes, it does. Now I want a couple of forklifts in here because they're going to be needed. Put in a counterweight for the forklift. Lovely. Cage is already on there. Mirrors are already on it. The mount is already on it. Okay, we'll put it in the middle. We're going to have to put in a second copy of that. I've already got all that. Mega load of wide forks. We need standard forks. Because even when they're clamped, we can just swap them out for like the mega load of forks. So let me put a couple of those down here, for instance. That's it. And that also then gives me an excuse for putting some additional lights on these. For example, I could put in a subway light, for example, on the front of the forklift like that. But then I can simply shrink the light down. Like that. And then I can just push the light back ever so slightly. I just need to lock onto it like that. There we go. So it's now behind the grille. That way it has essentially a headlight, which I've made very small for the purposes of the vehicle. Ooh. Oh, you fuck. I had you. I literally had it exactly the way I wanted it. You know, I'm just going to try it again. Yeah, like that. That's what I wanted. Now I just need to bring it forwards and then shrink it like that. You know what, that's actually fine. It's not quite as sleek as the one as the forklift over there, but that works. There we go. So we actually have some light over here now. And then we can follow it up with another subway light over top. So we actually have forklifts which can help take the missiles to places or move them around. Granted, it's not the safest, but this is the apocalypse we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Great. Now, another thing I want to complete in this episode. I mean, it's going to be a long episode. I don't like how that is constantly flickering. That's fine. Just had to pull it outwards a little bit. Now we have this room up here. Now this room at the top of the building here is going to be for the crane operation. Well, crane and workshop observations. So this one is going to have a bit of a multi-use, as it were. So the hodgepodge consoles, we should have one for a corner here. Like that. Now I need to get the place of this one right, because this will be the basis for all the other ones. So I need to tug that out a little bit there. That is way too large, I think. These ones don't seem to fit that well. I mean, we've got these slimline ones, but we haven't really got any kind of short ones. I mean, we could put like a desk in it instead. Yeah, you know what? That's not a bad shout. Put a desk. Then we can put a hodgepodge terminal or a hodgepodge computer unit in it. I think, yes, we get a couple of these tall tower units. So put a couple of the tower units in. Or one of them at least. Then another desk. Desk right. Narrow desk, narrow desk, narrow desk. And then the desk end. Same thing on this side. Let's make that the end of it, because then I can put in a rather large terminal on this side. So we'll have some, it's going to be like administration and workshop, so. Now one of the decorations I did see in here, I believe it was in here. Pre-war. Yeah, those couches are quite nice, but no thank you. Or was it the Curo tab here? Yeah, it was. Tables. Pretty sure it was tables. I can't surface snap in here, so I'm going to have to do it carefully and manually. Now, a few of these makeshift things in here, one of them is in fact a workshop. Got a table bolted to the floor which we could use. Oh, there's a lot of makeshift stuff in here. Not a synth examination, not a scaver's cart. That's it. So you got these workshop tables, which are essentially a complete rip-off of what the workshop bench is for what I use to access workshop mode. So it's basically the same workbench, but I think it would make a good fit up here. So for those who bring in broken equipment, maybe things that have been destroyed or damaged in the field, the guys up here can strip it for parts or get it back working again, ready for the next field ops. There'll be quite a few uses for the guys up here. And I can decorate this with some higgledy-piggledy personal effects. You can put up some shelving units in here as well. The cube look up here is quite nice. I don't want any book drop-offs. That doesn't really fit what we want to do up here. Shelf from a stack of footlockers. I mean, a stack of footlockers would not look out of place. I'm not exactly using it to make shelves, I can assure you of that. There's actually some really cool stuff here. That is like the toilet roll holder, but it's carrying things like beer and all that. If I want to push these kind of shelves down, I would just simply... well, there's quite a few other things I could use for that. I can use the do-it-yourself stuff. So I'll just use that for that thing. An upright duffel bag wouldn't be out of place at all. Cryo gun case. Ah, that thing we've got in Vault 111. Of course. But I think with those I'd be much better off using the do-it-yourself stuff. I like that it's got a biohazard material thing on the side for people who want to use a cooking pot. You know, these are actually quite funky. I might have to make use of these in this settlement build. That is cool. Now, anyone working up here, likely to be the Minutemen, will want to make this place feel a bit like home. So, a nice big rug. Oh fuck! Didn't mean to do that. I'm playing with fire doing this. I know I am. There you go. Only one click and it's going to go like through the fucking floor. Like completely, and then you'll lose it. Excellent. Now, under OC Decorator, we have some workshop stuff, so we're going to put down some tools for here, if we actually have any. Yep, we do. We have a few bits left in the junk in the workshop. So a ball peen hammer, adjustable wrenches. Oh, bit of lag there. I am fairly certain as well that I did pick up a fumigous blowtorch. There we go, I did. I bought one off the junk vendor. I do like these pre-war looking tools. That's it. Now, my inventory is full of a few things that I was going to use for the video project, well, one of my video projects. But I feel like a couple of these might go quite well in a different way. I think it's going to be under crafting here. OC dispenser. One of my favourite crafting stations. What we do is go up to it, place whatever you'd like in it, like that, and it generates you one of those. Now I feel like it will be quite a worthwhile investment here to put a few of these weapons on the table up here. There we go. So we just tip it over very gently like that. And we'll place a couple of these guns on the counter. That's it. Make sure you press 5 so they don't jitter, and just very slightly bring them up so that they're not clipped into the counter. So we've got a couple of MK18s that whoever is working up here is working on. I've left them vanilla mainly because I have to for the OC dispenser, and, well, fingers crossed anyway, my settlers won't be tempted to fucking steal them when there is an attack on the settlement, because these guns are going to be worse than the ones they're actually carrying already. So that's a good laugh, that is. That console is sticking through the wall. That's no good. That's better. It doesn't misalign it too much. Now, over here, settlement markers. Furniture. There'll be a scrolling terminal, which I really like. It'll be under miscellaneous, won't it? Yeah, of course it will. So this place will actually have some working terminals. Like that. And we do actually have some people who can type, so we will have some typists in here doing the administration for the naval yard. Might even be typing up logs of missions. We haven't quite decided on that part yet. But that now looks slightly more lived in, the industrial shed. There's actually some people who can do some work in there. Now, I'm thinking in a way, because we have so much space and so little to do with it, that I might actually create a tiny little section over here for people who actually reside here, potentially. Like maybe this place does need a 24-hour, what's the word I'm looking for? Not guard, but something similar to that. Now this is a good opportunity to flex a few of these. So for example, under the Curo tab, you've got these like almost plastic wrap walls that have been retextured from what we had originally, which is quite interesting. You've got metal retextures, you can make scrap metal. You can make different colours of scrap metal. Corrugated panelling, which is completed, which is what I might actually use for this. I feel like we do need to have at least someone who resides here 24/7, or at the very least someone who lives in this area, just in case anything goes wrong, which it could, you never know. I mean, this scrap metal is fine, but I just don't like the fact that it's all chipped and has holes in it. That's the only issue I have with it, is it has got holes in it, which I don't really want. And I feel like wood just would not go. Excuse me, excuse the pun. Sorry. So yeah, blue metal, all of this just has holes in it, which I just don't think works. I mean, some of this fuselage stuff here looks alright. Very shiny. Does this have a window panel? I think it might, you know. No, it doesn't. We do have this corrugated panelling, but these are just small panels. I can't really do much with them. That's the one issue I have. These scrap pieces, again, I've got the scrap bits, but they're only half height, so there's not really anything I can actually do with these. Granted, they do have some pretty cool pieces in here. Whoever's made this mod pack has done it very, very well. Perhaps there's some nice wood on here. Oh yeah, you can get the Fallout 76 style here, where it's got like nails reinforcing it and things, but I'm not a fan. Speaking of which, you'll never get me fucking playing Fallout 76. Never. Right, let's take away this railing here, and let's budge this railing along, just out of the way of this area. Now, what do we do with this corner? That is the question. So we've got these like metal shack doorways, but I don't really think that helps. Tell you what, let's just stick to what we know here. So under the industrial set, we have these nice bits here, and I think this will do for a residential sector. Part of me wanted to make the residential slightly more clandestine than it currently is, but beggars can't be choosers, evidently. How does that look on the outside here? That window definitely needs to be out of the line of influence there. I think it's important that they have another window up there. This thing, I'm trying to make it look good as we go. I don't think it's going to be entirely possible. So that's just a corner. What I want is one side with just a window. That's it. Now these aren't exactly one piece apart, so making this look good is going to be a little difficult. Now I want the door on the other side, like here. So this needs to be, no, the corner needs to be the other way, like that. Oh, there's so much that it can snap to here. That. Wow, that fits much easier than I expected it would. Okay, so now I want the wall like that. Then I just need a interior one-sided wall, which will be up here, like that, and then just a standard arse corner, like that, to go in the back bit here. There we go. I like the idea of keeping the floor in here concrete, but I do appreciate that it's not exactly comfortable living. So let's bump this up just a tad. And this can be for recreation and for sleeping for a few of the quarters for the people who will live here. So we're going to put in a couple of beds. Just to be granted, the settlers who, or the Minutemen who are stationed here, will probably not be here full time. This won't be like a permanent residence. This will kind of be a as and when. Like it's your shift to watch over the warehouse, you know. Now, decorations. Interior decorations. I believe we have some curtains, which I'm going to put up a few of these. You can see my cloth is running quite low. I do need to sort out potentially getting some more cloth. There we go. Just set up a few curtains. Like that. Move these to the centre. Like that. So you might have a few people who most live here part-time. But this will be where you come to rest up. If you got a break, you'll come and spend time in here. So I'm going to put in a couch. I put in a couple of couches facing in the L shape. A nice classic. I put in a couple of mismatched, I think, chairs here. That's it. Surfaces. Oh, I think, actually, from what I saw, I think it was the Curo tab. Furniture. Tables. We had the tables that were bolted down. These are the ones. I think these would make a good fit. Almost like the diner tables that you see at, say, the Red Rocket. So we have these across the window. Let's just line them up properly. And plus, because they'll go into the pillar ever so slightly, they'll look a bit more integrated. Yeah, so they'll look a bit more like they're part of the hut rather than anything. And then that also means we can put in some stools. So let's put in a few of those. I'm going to have to manually drag it back with every one, aren't I? That's really annoying. Oh, and of course, it fucking faces me, doesn't it? Oh god, I'm stuck. There we go. Oh, God bless this shit. Okay, so I think they need to be turned that way. Like so. So the middle of the X is facing. There we go. So now when the people sit down, they'll be facing towards the warehouse window. And they'll get up the correct way. That's ideal. Now, OC decorator, kitchen and dining. Can we put any food? Yes. Not much, but we can. So we can put a noodle cup. Right, that's the thing, I don't generally keep food. I really should, because I'm going to put a fair bit of dining in a lot of these settlements. That's it. Got a Salisbury steak just on the end. So they've been left here by the people who work in the warehouse. And we'll put out some dinnerware to give this a slightly more lived-in look. Don't think we've got clean coffee cups, but we do have some basic plates. Have I got any that have got a... Yeah, got some ones that have got a trim to them. Let's place a couple of these out. And you would come up here to come and eat your dinner, so that's not a bad shout. Yeah, I don't have a Luxo brew, unfortunately, otherwise that would be ideal. That's a question, do we have any dirty coffee cups? Or just anything? Pint glass. I don't think I've got any of those. Yes, we do. Cool. So put out some coffee cups. And let me just quick save before this all fucks up, because I'm used to things fucking up. Cool. Now we've put in the industrial set here. I think it's important that we give some of these settlers a bit of privacy. So I think having these plugs there is not a bad idea. Or at least one of those being a plug. Need some double doors in, if we actually have any double doors. We do. I was going to say, doesn't it snap? Yeah, opening outwards is a good sign. And it's auto close, so I won't have to keep coming along and doing it for them. Oh, and it looks like it auto opens too. Tables. I'll put in this square unit. Like that. And I do think having a decent floor covering here is important to make the place feel more homely. and this one isn't quite the standard Minuteman flag, but it's essentially near enough the same as a new Commonwealth flag. Then all we need is some light to get this place up and running. Now, because it's residential, I think the bulb works the finest here. Oh, I do get snagged on the bulb though, which is not a good sign. There we go. Just think I'll bring that just high enough to walk under it. Excellent. So yeah, OC decorator, there are some personal effects that we can put down. Put down a desk fan on this little side table. Crystal decanter. Oh, that is really far away, that. Not sure how I managed to do that, but it happens. Now these bedside tables, we'll put these down because they're quite bog standard. I should bloody hope you defended yourselves. I gave you some good weapons. An ammo box by the side of the bed just in case anything goes wrong. A clothes dresser for this particular settler, or particular worker. I do appreciate that makes it ever so slightly cramped, but that is not a concern. That is kind of the look we're going for. Cozy but cramped. Going to have a couple of box standard paintings just for home comforts. But these are your temporary beds. So if you reside here while you're looking after the place, this is what you'll have. An ashtray. That's just a little bit of extra light, so I will put those down. Yeah, as you come in, a cigarette machine is not a bad calling. A Nuka Cola, a couple of home comforts. After all, you're not really going to be finding opportunities to get out of here. You're going to be busy if you work in here. So I'm just going to put in a couple of these very small mats. Almost as though we're creating a transition between the warehouse and where you'd rest, essentially. And you can very slightly see the wire for the lights in there, but that is a tiny imperfection that I can live with. Let's just set out a couple of benches for you to sit down on if you are on a break and you don't want to sit in with the others. Now we are essentially repurposing some industrial equipment here. Place those. That also then gives me an opportunity to add another work light in the middle here. Now OC decorator, office and lounge. Can have a couple of ashtrays out here. I could have swore I had some cigarette packets, but I clearly have not. I must be mistaken in that regard. Easily done though. Beverages. Do I have any booze on me? Beer bottle. I mean, putting one or two down wouldn't wouldn't be out of place. And a Nuka Cola. There goes. This place over here is beginning to take a bit of shape. It's beginning to look a little bit more homely on this side. A coffee pot as well. Hot plate. Hot plate and a coffee pot. That door, of course, opens outwards, so I can't put anything in this corner. Display. Don't think there's anything we can put down for display. There are a lot of saplings in here, though. Bloody, how big do you need to put that in a vault? Seriously. Don't you think a milk vending machine would particularly fit this? A potted plant may very well do that. Maybe to flank the stairs with them, to give that impression that you're coming from work to home. Not that it's really a home, but it's the fact that you're coming to a place where you'll be resting from your shift rather than being put to work. Across the decorations. Now I think the only place we're really going to get boxes and things is this homemaker. From what I thought that wasn't switched on. I was about to be a little bit annoyed about that. Containers, of course. There is one thing that does need to be around in any kind of industrial setting. And that is a med kit. So we're going to have some first aid kits dotted around the warehouse and workshop here, just in case anyone suffers an accident. I say safety first, as we carry some fucking ballistic missiles in this this space. So yeah, first aid kits under here. First aid kit over here by this missile station. And a first aid kit by the munitions sets here. And then upstairs, I think we'll need one in the industrial shed. Emergency pharmaceutical kit. Yeah, that sounds about right. Nice big swig of tea there. Ah, it's got to be PG Tits. PG Tits is just God tier tea. This part under here I haven't really decided what to do with it yet, especially because it's underneath the industrial shed. Oh, we've got our first settler in here. Yeah, looks like our first settler has come in to relax. Ah, she is unassigned. That explains everything. Fair enough. And that will auto close because reasons. Okay. There's one thing we didn't round off as well down here, and that was barricading off this area. Of course it's going to take a while to load, because why wouldn't it? Okay, so we'll put in these sandbag pillars, at least along most of it. Where these crates are kind of not towing the line, as it were, we won't do that. Nope. Accidentally hit the wrong button there, that was good of me. That's it. Brilliant. So I'm just going to tuck these ones closer to each other, like that. And then of course just mess up the heights ever so slightly. so they're not uniform, and so it has a slightly more organic look to it. While there are some builds that I do like to look very much man-made, there are some things that I think can have a bit of variety so they don't look the same all the way along. That's it. That's fine, and I think maybe where the job hasn't been finished yet, we can have these smaller pillars on this side. Put those together. My cloth supply is almost out, which is going to be a laugh. The fact my cloth supply is out is quite a surprise, because that's normally one of the ones I'm really good at keeping a good stock of. You know, I tear up a lot of the uniforms that I steal from the gunners, all that kind of stuff. So to not have cloth as a material is quite a surprise. That's it. So this has now been left much more defensible, a little bit more fortified. And now we can put in some more warehouse supplies. Again, we're going to make these slightly messy. And we're going to vary up the colours a little bit so that they're not all looking the same. I might want to put a few more munitions crates down, but I will need to farm a little bit more nuclear material before I can do that. And I do not have nuclear material because I used it all. Nuclear material is one of those things that I always forget that I'm running low of, or don't realise I'm running low of, until it's too late. And nuclear material is not too easy to get a hold of. It does have a few issues finding it. I'm going to scatter some of these around here. Yeah, I know they're sort of designed to stack these things. Great. There is one thing as well I really need to put in, and that is in the industrial kit. Industrial floor. We have a ramp. We do actually need to put a ramp in here. I don't know how I'm going to make this work, but I kind of need it to work. Oh, I think I literally just had it. Let's see. That sucks. I need to get some kind of transition up to the lift here. Because I really don't think I don't really think these empty catwalks here would really help me. Because I think the ones that have, or the ones that are just ramps, are way too big. Where are the ones that are just ramps? Have these all got railings? I swear to God, if they've all got railings. Oh, give me strength, come on. They've all got railings on at least one side. That is no bueno. Do the concrete ones have? I think the concrete ones are the same story. Oh, that's just stupid. I mean, unless I doubled up, so I could. No, even then, that railing goes right into the floor. That looks silly. That looks absolutely silly. Do I not have a really short one that's got a railing on one side? No, all those are stairs. Oh, that is so dumb. That is really dumb. I'll have to think about that later. But I want a little ramp so that if you're driving the forklift or, you know, riding any heavy cargo, you can just drive it onto the lift and then it will go up. I mean, this lift isn't actually touching the floor, and it's technically not actually a lift, but I'm giving the impression of one, so do forgive me. I do think this looks really cool now in the light. You know, the light as it is, I think this looks really cool. It actually looks like someone is operating here. All we need are staff now, at least for this part. Homemaker. I think a lot of wooden crates on this end. Actually, I think a lot of the wooden cargo being under here wouldn't be a bad shout. Because down there you can clearly see is all munitions. Like those coloured crates and everything, they're munitions. That stuff is explosives, pure explosive ordnance. Up here I think can be more of the civilian cargo. That's not less important, but not quite as important as all of the explodey shit that we have at the bottom there. And I think this should be a bit of a higgledy-piggledy mess, because this is going to be the home of the Navy, the Minuteman Navy, and they would carry slightly more than just explosive equipment. They would take civilian stuff. Like, you might want to get on a boat here to Spectacle Island, for example. Maybe that's the reason I haven't actually done Spectacle Island as a settlement yet, but I do have some pretty cool ideas for that. I was thinking of a correctional facility, almost like the Minuteman Alcatraz. Whether or not I can pull that off and make it work is someone else's guess, but there we go. A couple of these for like liquor. Some storage of some of these flatbed carts wouldn't be a bad shout. Oh, I still have enough for one more munitions crate. Those are way too big, I think, for the for those down there. Which means I can put another munitions crate in here, actually. Yeah, let's put the lid of this one off to the side. Actually, I can get a bit extra fancy with this one. Place it up against the wall like it's been lifted off and placed there. I think that's a pretty good shout. So I'm getting more creative with my builds. I really am, and it's I feel like every time I film another episode, my building style is coming out more and more. So there is always that. Now, there is one thing I'm particularly looking for here, but I will look for that later. You know what, a fire panel is not a bad idea. We are carrying some pretty damn powerful explosives in here after all. So maybe having a couple of these fire panels is not a bad shout. You know, if there's any issues, you want to know there's help that can come along. These diagnostics cards mightn't be a bad shout. I have the one with the wires that are coming off of it. What is actually the difference here? There is no difference apart from this one has wires and that one doesn't. So I think having maybe a couple of these in storage isn't bad. You'll definitely have some floor jacks, especially for a warehouse with this kind of level of equipment sitting around. But just stick a couple of extra boxes on here just to accentuate that. That's the word I'm looking for, accentuate. A couple of newer ones, a couple of older ones, that all works. I like the idea that the Minutemen are stretching into putting in a few Mr. Handies around now that the army's getting bigger. So I think maybe a couple of these wouldn't be bad. I mean, these are close to the civilian area. So maybe they're even like trying to figure out how to put these together. Granted, they wouldn't be probably too difficult. They'd probably come with an instruction manual, but they might not have figured that bit out yet. I do kind of like the idea that the Minutemen are kind of struggling to figure out how to put together a Mr. Handy. I should really have put these down first, shouldn't I? It's fine though. We will put a couple of these pallets down, because this will by default be the way a lot of the cargo in this warehouse is kept. There we are. Let's adorn some of these. I can't believe my wood supply is also down low. That thing was 5 figures, I think, before I started, or shortly before I started the Warwick homestead. There we go. So they can be stacked back to back there. Now these can all be loaded onto pallets before the crane takes them to be sorted. So the crane can take them off the ship, can place them in the warehouse, and then they can be unpacked and distributed. Usually these ones will be distributed by hand because there's no way to get them out of here, like this particular building, unless you are physically carrying them. So a couple of these barrels over there. Put a couple of these blue ones down. So I'm trying to mix the colours up so it doesn't get too samey. There we are. And again, a couple of these crates. Lovely. Don't need a wheelchair for anything, I can assure you. Certainly wouldn't fit in here anyway, like thematic wise. There will be some heavy lifting equipment. Sort of leaning around. Try not to get in the way of this door, which will be able to swing open. And then, these slats can all be folded and removed so that the missiles can be manoeuvred out of place. Then they can be put onto the lift, probably this way. Lift can be brought up to the top. Then it can be unlocked and the crane can then load it aboard the ship. That's how it's going to be configured here at least. So we've got lots of crates all configured down there. I would say pallets probably wouldn't be up here. These probably would have just been like leftovers, things that they might not have been bothered to put together. So likely this will be for scrap and stuff like that. So let's go with that idea. So there's going to be a fair bit of scrap and stuff up here that they wouldn't really want to keep. Maybe like the broken pallets. There'll definitely be some broken shit up here. That's it. These wooden boxes do actually have physics applied, so I have to just make sure they're not in a place that can be kicked around. And also, I think it's hodgepodge. Got decorations. Is it decorations on hodgepodge or CVC? Probably CVC. Drawers. Decorations. Space deco. Here you go. I think under garage there'll be a lot of shelves with some pre-packaged clutter, which will make the job just that little bit easier. So if we're having essentially like the junk disposal up here, I mean it will have to be managed at the end of the day. We might even be able to stack a few of these. Let me just turn my light on. No, we can't, because there's a spur at the bottom of the shelves there, so we can't really do it that way. I think that's just wide enough that we could get away with doing that. Yeah. 2 sets of shelving bits there. And this also means we can have someone up here, like a set of scavengers. Maybe this is a place that the warehouse workers don't really like coming up to. Like, they'll bring the crap up here to throw it in the pile, but they don't like coming up here. And that would kind of make sense. So we can have like a scavenger's table in the middle here. So that's already adorned with tools, so I don't have to do that with OC Decorator. And anything that makes my life a little bit easier. And yeah, as you can see, it is cramped up here, which is the idea. That is the theme we're going for. Prop up some of those. Resources. I mean, that looks like he's fixing like a water pump that he's found. That's not a bad choice. So get a water pump there. Clothes are not really a thing. Lockers. I mean, these are full of equipment, so likely not that much of a thing. But if the ship does go somewhere, it's likely that the Minuteman Navy will do a bit of scavenging. So that they would come back with things like this, you know, things for us to dismantle and use as resources. So these fucked up pallets will make for a decent set. Painting equipment. So I'm going for a very, very cluttered look in here. Be someone who doesn't really know how to organise anything. Basically, 18-year-old me, if you want the honest truth. Yeah, so this is basically where 18-year-old me would be residing. Some old sandbags that might have been left over from the other bit. Oh, an anchor. Yes, because that ship will have needed an anchor, so maybe this is one that he is repairing. There will be probably a few bits of marine stuff in here. Yeah, I quite like this stuff. So they got all that scrap out under here. Maybe the guys up there will be taunting him, whoever's the poor sod who has to recycle all this shite. So he's put some stuff here that might be ready to be taken downstairs, but I highly doubt it. This guy barely knows what the fuck he's doing. So you got junk and shite under here, living sector, and a little bit of storage across the front, your entranceway. Up top you've got your administration centre, which of course we'll have to staff in the next episode. And then of course up out onto the roof you have the crane and the last bits of storage up here. These crates here, they'll either be wrapped up, well, because these have been probably unwrapped or taken off the ship, they will either be sorted out by hand. What the hell? Never seen a light on something out in the sea like that. That's random, that is. I don't think I've actually seen that before. I'll have to go check that out off camera. Yeah, because these have been unwrapped, or there's no wrapping on them, it's likely these will be secured onto a pallet lifter, and then they will be put onto this crane to be loaded into the warehouse. That will then be sent down the lift, and then the forklift at the bottom will take it to a place that is worth storing it at. Or it'll be brought down the lift, and then the boxes will be manually taken upstairs onto the second level and put in with the junk and recycling. So that is the basic premise. I'm thinking of stocking these shelves up a little bit higher so that we can store even more stuff and create an even more chaotic and cramped little warehouse. But yes, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. This is probably the longest episode I've actually recorded in quite some time. But I think we have achieved a shitload of stuff today. So yeah, if you've managed to get to the end of the video, please comment below and tell me you've actually reached the end, because I will be very curious to know who's done that. And if you have reached the end, just know that I love you very, very much. If you guys guessed that it was a missile storage, then give yourself a pat on the back, because I didn't expect anyone would. And it's such a niche building. But the Minutemen's power is increasing by the day, it's increasing by the month, and the Minutemen now have cruise missiles. All they need now is a ship to launch them from. The gunners better beware, because the Minutemen have now got a navy. Or will have a navy. I'm rambling. Anyway, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate all the support you've given me. Make sure you share this one around and get this out to as many places as possible, that the Commonwealth is being rebuilt. But until the next one, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I will see you guys next time. So make sure you stay safe, you take care of yourself, and come back nice and refreshed for the next one. Thank you, and peace out.